We have our first look at Monster Hunter, the property based on the Capcom game. So we got a good look at that coming out. Sony is producing the film. I'm guilty of the fact that I have not played any of the Monster Hunter games, but a lot of my friends have, and they love it. So I can't really speak too much of the
My
gameplay. The
brother
only thing,
loves it.
huh?
My brother loves it.
Yeah, it's definitely a game that he would like, kind of for sure. Totally. And like I said, a bunch of my friends play it. I just never something I never got around doing. Have you played it, John?
I actually did. I started the first one that came out, 2 years ago or something. I didn't get deep into it. I rented it from the library and I played like the first couple hours. It was a fun game. It looked like it could be kind of a grind. And
Oh, that's what
I
it
was,
is. Yeah, it's a
I
constant
was
grind.
playing other stuff too, so it kind of fell by the wayside. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's definitely a very it's definitely like an RPG grinding game. It's just all about getting gear from monsters and crafting gear, and it's just kind of rinse repeat, like for the most part, from what I understand. So if you're into that kind of thing, then you probably like it, and you probably know a lot about it anyway. The main thing that I like from this picture, one, is the sword, dude. Because the sword I recognized immediately was like actually the sword. I mean, it's like an in-game piece of armor to some capacity, or at least what was in like promotional pieces in some way. I don't know if it's the same characters that would be using it, or if it's just so like, oh, we just threw the sword in for fun. So I mean, that's kind of cool. The only thing that has me worried about this though is that Paul W.S. Anderson is directing it, which was no surprise. Like I didn't even know he was directing it, but then I saw Milla Jovovich was in it, and I was like, oh man, I hope her husband Paul W.S. Anderson isn't directing it, because that's the team that was behind all those Resident Evil movies that had nothing to do with Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So it'd be really unfortunate for the Monster Hunter franchise to fall victim to the same minds behind it. And sure enough, womp, 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 it is. So I don't know. That kind of ruined my any sort of hopes I had for the movie being good. Unfortunately, I mean, as sad as it sounds, because like those movies, not only did they have nothing to do with Resident Evil, they just weren't good movies.
I will say the game is maybe more lighthearted or more fun. It doesn't have the horror tone that Resident Evil does. So I don't know. Maybe given a different genre, a different style of movie, maybe they can turn it into something better.
I don't know. We'll have to see, man. I just have little to no faith in, like, just based on those movies, man. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what to do. But the other part of this main story, I guess, too, is the fact that this stuff is going to be appearing at New York Comic Con, and New York Comic Con, to jump into our next topic,